I opened my banking app and froze. Just $790 to survive the whole month. Rent, food, life, all had to fit inside that tiny number. At first, panic hit me. How was I going to survive? But then something shifted. Instead of feeling hopeless, I took a deep breath and made a choice. What if I treated this like a challenge, not a crisis? Could I live well, and maybe even enjoy life, on just $790? That's budgeting on low income. Could someone really live on $800 per month and still feel happy? That was the moment everything changed. I stopped thinking about what I couldn't afford and started thinking about what I could do. I didn't want to just get by. I wanted to grow stronger, smarter, and maybe even happier. This is the video of how I turned a tight budget into one of the best months of my life. You might wonder, why only $790? Well, I had just moved to a small city, a classic case of downsizing to save money. I didn't have a full-time job yet, just part-time work and a few online gigs. After paying rent and some bills, $790 was all I had left for the month. Groceries, gas, even basics like soap, everything's more expensive. Recently, many people around the world started looking for new ways to live with less. But living on a small budget isn't a new idea. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, people learned to stretch every dollar. More recently, movements like FIRE, financial independence, retire early, and minimalism have shown that living simply can also be powerful. I wasn't trying to be part of a trend, I just needed to survive. But what I learned changed my whole view on money. My first week of the challenge. The first week was the hardest. I didn't know what to expect from this extreme frugality experiment. On Monday, I realized I had to stop using ride apps and buses. My subway card had no money left, so I walked everywhere. At first, it felt tiring, but I started noticing things: old houses, small parks, kind people. Walking gave me time to think. By Wednesday, food became a challenge. I had $30 left for groceries that week. I skipped snacks and cooked a big pot of lentils and rice. I added garlic, carrots, and spices. It wasn't fancy, but it lasted 3 days. That Friday, I found a fun surprise. My neighbor invited me to a food swap. Everyone brought extras from their kitchens. I traded pasta for apples. Someone gave me homemade soup. It felt warm and human, like real community. There were hard moments too. I missed coffee shops and online shopping. But I also felt something new: pride. I was making it work, one small step at a time. By the end of the week, I wasn't just surviving. I felt alive, more connected to the world around me. And I knew I could keep going. Unique strategy spotlight. Micro zero days. One of my best money-saving ideas came by accident. I called it micro zero days. Here's how it works. I picked one part of life, like transport, food, or fun, and spent $0 on that for a whole day or week. Just one small area at a time. It made saving feel easy, not scary. One week, I had a no transport goal. I walked everywhere. No buses, no Uber. I saved $20 that week. But I also found a tiny park with a free art wall, and I met a man who sells fresh bread from his bike. Another week, I did a no-screen shopping challenge. I didn't go near Amazon or online stores. I deleted shopping apps from my phone. Instead, I made a wish list on paper. A week later, I didn't even want most of those things. These micro zero days made saving feel like a game. I wasn't just cutting costs. I was exploring, learning, and having fun. And it never felt like I was missing out. If you want to start small, try this trick. Pick one part of your life and go zero for a day. It's like a no-spend challenge, but easier to start. It's a kind of mini no-spend challenge that feels surprisingly doable. You might find joy in the simple stuff again, just like I did. Unexpected retrofit. What I didn't expect. My neighborhood had its own secret economy. One big surprise during my low-budget month was how much help I found in my own neighborhood. I discovered a little free pantry just 5 blocks away. It's a small wooden box where people leave extra food for others to take. One day I dropped off a can of beans, and the next day I found oatmeal and soup. No questions, no judgment, just kindness. I also joined a local skill swap group online. I offered to help someone write a resume, and in return, they fixed my broken lamp. It felt great, like teamwork without money. These small community hacks saved me more than I expected. But more than that, they made me feel less alone. People were helping each other, just because they could. Sometimes, the best savings don't come from discounts or apps. These are the kinds of community-based saving tips that don't show up in budgeting apps. They come from people around you, sharing, giving, and building something better together. Budget smart nutrition. Eating healthy on a small budget was hard, but not impossible. At first, I thought I had to eat only instant noodles and cheap snacks. But I learned a trick. Buy smart, cook simple. I bought rice, lentils, eggs, carrots, garlic, and frozen veggies. These gave me enough to cook tasty, healthy meals for the whole week. One of my favorites was a one-pot lentil stew. I cooked it with onions, garlic, and spices I already had. It cost less than $3 and lasted 4 meals. I added rice on the side, and it kept me full and happy. I also grew a few herbs on my windowsill like basil and mint. It saved money and made my meals feel fresh and special. I didn't eat less, I ate smarter. I felt healthier, had more energy, and spent less. The truth is, you don't need fancy food to eat well. With a little planning and some simple ingredients, you can cook meals that are both cheap and delicious. Mindset shift, the invisible return on investment. Something surprising happened as I kept living on $790. I started feeling calmer. Like I had found my own version of stealth wealth, quiet confidence without overspending. Before, I spent money without thinking, even when I was budgeting on low income. Shopping gave me short-term joy. But now, I felt proud when I spent less. I began to see value in things that didn't cost anything, like going for a walk, writing in a journal, or talking to a friend. I also started a gratitude list. Each night, I wrote down 3 free things that made me smile. It helped me feel rich, even when my wallet was thin. Experts say people feel happier when they focus on what they already have, not what they want to buy. I found that to be true. This new way of thinking was my invisible reward, or ROI, return on investment. I didn't just save money. I gained peace, confidence, and control. Living with less didn't shrink my life. It actually made it feel bigger. Not everything went perfectly. I had small failures, but big lessons too. One Sunday, I gave in and bought a $6 coffee and pastry at my favorite cafe. It felt good for a moment, but later, I felt guilty. That was almost a full day's food budget gone in minutes. Instead of quitting, I used that moment to learn. I sat down, looked at my spending, and made a simple plan for the rest of the month. I called it a budget reset. I also found that tracking every dollar made me more aware. I used a free app to write down what I spent each day. That helped me stay on track and avoid mistakes. The biggest lesson? Slip-ups are normal. What matters most is how you bounce back. Living on a budget doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest, flexible, and ready to try again. At the end of the month, I looked back and was shocked in a good way. I had made it through the entire month on just $790. Rent, food, bills, and even a little fun, it all fit. I didn't feel poor or miserable. In fact, I felt strong. I saved over $100 compared to the month before. But the real win wasn't just the money.
It was what I learned about myself.
I found joy in small things. I learned how to plan better, cook better, and live with less stress. Before this challenge, I thought budgeting meant giving things up. Now I know it means making space for peace, for health, and for freedom. This month taught me that you don't need a big income to live a good life. You just need a clear plan, a curious mind, and a little creativity. If I could live on $790 and still feel happy, you can try your own version too. Start small. Try a micro-zero day. Pick one area, like food, fun, or travel, and spend nothing on it for just one day. See what happens. You might be surprised by how easy it feels. Need help? Here are some free tools that worked for me. Every Dollar, a simple budgeting app with free features. Buy Nothing Project, a global group where people give and get items for free. Budget Bites, a website full of low-cost recipes that taste amazing. This journey isn't about being cheap. It's a real financial freedom story about spending wisely, living simply, and still feeling rich. It's about choosing what matters, spending with care, and feeling proud of every dollar you save. Let me know in the comments, what's one area of your life you could try a micro-zero day? You've got this. Want to learn how real people are building quiet wealth and achieving financial success? Then watch this video next. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.